Well, in the past, 24 hours was non-existent of any services unless it was specialized, like hospitals, certain restaurants that catered to maybe like truck drivers. But in the new economy, we don't do this anymore. We have to go to work now, which affects everything because now my children have to go to a daycare or a babysitter, or I have to leave it with a parent to help me. So now we have to work 24 hours, and it exerts the worker because they're not used to working nights. And since we're getting paid less, they have to take on more jobs, which just throws off their whole body. In other words, they're working odd hours, multiple jobs, different roles, and they're getting paid less. Where in the past 24 hours, if you worked the second shift, there was a differential in pay because of the shift or the language or something. But now those differential in pays are disappearing. There's no more extra pay for doing extra things like a second and third shift. Because I remember my parents used to work in a factory in Chicago in the 70s for the Zenith company, and they worked second and third shift. And my dad was paid 5%, and my mom was paid another 6 or 7% because she worked the third shift. And they exchanged during the night to come take care of us when we were little. But those offerings that these companies gave to their employees, because they knew that they were sacrificing their home lives, their family lives, that has changed. They're not compensating them anymore. They're taking away and not giving anything, and it's overexerting the worker. It's sacrificing the home life. We're growing in where sometimes there's not even a parent at home most of the time at night. Children are taking care of themselves because the parent is working most of the time during the night hours, where the parent should be at home taking care of them, cooking food, making sure they do their homework, and being there for them when they wake up in the morning, getting them ready for school, where these children are doing all for themselves. They're very independent, where these companies are not, they really don't care because of the stockholders, the investors, the shareholders are the ones that are manipulating and demanding a lot from these companies because they want their money, and they don't care how they get it or who they get it from and who has to sacrifice or who has to be put on the chopping block to obtain these funds to get their money back. So America is changing. For instance, a country that has changed overnight, and if you look at it in the last 20 years, it's changed, is Singapore. Singapore went from a rural country farming mostly, foods that they were was the main trade to international business. Now they're a 24-hour country. You go there, everything is open 24 hours. And most of the residents work in these places, and they don't have a life. They really don't. They're dedicated. They're devoted to their work, and most of them don't live a very happy and long life like we used to. They're very exploited. They're exploited workers. They're underpaid, and basically, the human on the bottom of the food chain is being abused to keep these businesses running so they can make the most money in a day.